pushing the boundaries of expectations, and rewriting the rules of adventure are the reasons we get up in the morning. This is a way of life, a huge and growing community of explorers and adventurers, leading the way, blazing new trails, and raising the bar. We share your hunger for a life without limits, and we know you'll stop at nothing to get there.
Greetings and welcome back, KB Creators, for another adventure of manifesting with Kinetic Belief for creating your most abundant life. I am so glad to have you back with us today, and if you'd like to receive an occasional text from me, text the word Kinetic. 844-844-0049 is the number, and StephenCanyon.com is the website for all the upcoming events in, right now, Orlando, Florida. And also other things like the podcasts, other things that we're doing that are so much fun.
I have something new.
Yes, ma'am.
To add.
What is that?
You are now officially on Clubhouse, the new social app Clubhouse.
Am I really?
And that's going to be at Stephen Canyon.
Really?
And we currently have no idea how it works. So,
but I'm there.
But you're technically on it.
Awesome.
So hey, if you're listening and you happen to be on the new app Clubhouse, look for Stephen.
And then make sure you follow us on Instagram and subscribe at Stephen Canyon. And speaking of Orlando, those tickets are now available for the June 26th events, a time of celebration of life and each other.
Yes.
Right?
Celebrate.
Edification, championing.
Nothing feels better, honestly.
So you think that it would ruin art to get paid for it? Your art.
That's a personal thing though, because I think there are definitely artists out there that could handle that, and even though they have deadlines or so to speak deadlines and they're getting paid, I think they could still mentally overcome the pressure to be an artist. But I think that would be a huge challenge.
I think I'm bringing all you guys in on a conversation we were having while our announcer was bringing us in. But so art, and then comedians, being funny. You were thinking that it would kind of ruin the if you have to be funny. And
that's
you
a
get
personal
paid for
thing,
it.
though, right? I mean, I think that's
Maybe.
just true for me. Saying it, that's just how I feel. Because again,
I
think certain people are made for it. You're made to be an artist that has $1 million commission, but you still don't care what anyone thinks. So you're able to sort of push through.
Okay,
that
like
would be the challenge.
art. You've got these coasters. They're sitting here, a stack of coasters, and they're just made of cardboard or something. But they have art. There's art on them. You're the coaster artist. And,
okay.
I guess that's one way. But then there's art on these napkins here, art on dinner trays. There's art on the shower curtains. And somebody's painting those scenes, right?
Well, art is so subjective, isn't it? Subjective to the painter, to the beholder, to the creator.
I saw something about Hallmark, and it was showing those that designed the Christmas ornaments, and it's just a workshop. I mean,
It's literally like Santa's workshop over at Hallmark.
And then there's that who is it, Basquiat, the painting that's just sold for $93.1 million.
I don't think that's how you say that. I think it's French or something.
Basquiat. Say it in French.
I don't.
Basquiat. Anyway, 93.1. I could enjoy painting for that amount of money.
Right.
Right. So anyway, okay. Interesting conversation.
Yeah.
There is. Speaking of interesting, there's a proverb in the Bible, and I was just that I'm familiar with it. It says that the blessing of God makes. The blessing is something that creates, in other words, it establishes. Isn't that interesting? The blessing of God makes. It makes something.
Wow.
What I find so interesting about that, specifically, it's really exciting because, again, science is catching up with things that humanity has been talking about or has been written about for thousands of years now. For example, quantum mechanics just identified the substance of what has been called the blessing in religious circles and written about in the Bible.
So cool.
It's actually a substance that's been identified, and it's the Higgs boson, or what mainstream media has labeled as the God particle. The God particle, it creates. The blessing of God makes. The God particle creates. It's the favor of the universe, you could say. It's attracted to increase, to add to advance us. Whatever is aligned with the favor of God in the universe, aligned with the Higgs boson, attracting the God particle to increase to it, to add to it.
Wow. Very cool.
I think it's amazing. The word blessing actually means favor. That's what it means. And so we could say the favor of the Creator creates. The favor of the Creator, it manifests. It manifests. And what we know is that it manifests wherever there is a belief, the substance of belief, that is in alignment with the favor, that is in alignment with the blessing. Aligned with that, in expectation of that, for increase, for manifesting more of what we desire.
This is such a cool look at the behind. It's almost like a behind the scenes of manifestation. When you speak and you believe, what begins scurrying around behind the scenes to make that happen.
Pay no attention to the wizard.
Yes, exactly. The man behind the curtain.
Close the curtain.
Yeah. Yes.
But now where there's a contradiction of thought. And this is where we start to get tangled up in these ideas, the behind the scenes look. Because where there is a contradiction of thought, a thought that is not in alignment with the favor of creation, there cannot be blessing, favor. There cannot be increase. There cannot be attraction. There cannot be manifestation. So you kind of follow the logic.
Wow. Yes.
Or lack thereof logic.
Yeah.
But for those who think that they're going to stay the same when they are in alignment with the favor of the universe, I would just say, remember that the favor of the universe, the favor or the blessing of God makes, it creates, it establishes, and it has nothing to do with do you deserve it or not, has nothing to do with doing the right thing or the wrong thing. It has everything to do with the alignment of that, because in alignment, the attraction of that, it increases. It establishes. The blessing makes, which is fascinating, because the law of attraction increases where there is kinetic belief. And we know that. And a lot of people are trying to stay the same. They work real hard at not having anything in their life appear to be anything different than it was last year or the year before.
Right.
And so they're trying to stay the same, but they can't do it when they are aligned with increase, because it will make. So nothing really stays the same. We're either decreasing for many reasons, or we're increasing for a few reasons.
Well, and the way that you're revealing all of this for us today is it's coming through as just this really vital perspective shift, because, I like how you said you don't have to deserve it. We have to remember that we're not earning all of this blessing, all of this favor. Just like if you're sitting under a tree and an apple is hanging by a thread and it drops, gravity is going to bring it down on your head, whether you're a nice person or not. I mean, it's a law, it's a principle. All of these things they're principles of the universe. And I love how you're saying, it's not up there. The universe isn't up there making decisions. The blessing, the favor, it's not making decisions about you. It's a factory.
Well, and the decisions is the way that often people will roll off the idea of receiving something or receiving favor as, well, it has to be reasonable. It has to be reasoned. There has to be justification for me to do well in life. And since I'm justifying all of the inner dialogue that condemns me, then I'll be the first one to tell you, should you ask, that I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to move beyond where I am.
Wow.
My marriage is like it is, and it's broken and it's hard, but by gosh, it's my marriage.
So knowing who you are is a huge part of this.
Knowing who we are and what we're capable of.
Yeah.
Information, right?
Yes.
The correct information.
Awareness.
And that's really what sets us all free, is having that knowledge. Because you see, look, if you are sick, for example, let's say you're sick, the favor of alignment will make you well. If you are trapped in some lifestyle, the favor of alignment will set you free. If you are in lack, the favor of alignment will increase you. You cannot remain the same once the favor of alignment starts operating in your life. It's impossible. Nothing stays the same. And this is why. And, you may have heard the question before, well, I get up the same way every day, put on my pants the same way every day, I eat the same thing, I have the same conversations, but gosh darn it, things sure do change a lot. And this is what's happening.
I love this too, because you've talked a lot in previous podcasts about sweatless victory. And this is sort of the ultimate description of that. This idea that, look, if you're kinetically believing and you're doing, the steps that we talk about on the podcast all the time, you will be swept away. It's just sort of going to pick you up and carry you off into the sunset of favor.
Yeah, nothing stays the same. You cannot remain the same once the favor of alignment starts operating in your life.
This is great news, though, isn't it? Because a lot of times we're constantly fighting the idea that all of this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be hard work. We're going to have to work really, really, really hard to achieve fill in the blank. And what you're describing sounds amazing. Well, it sounds amazing.
Well, a lot of people throw around fairly loosely the word alignment, kind of like the mechanic we were meeting with earlier today. This is going to need an alignment. Well, that makes sense to me, sir. I had no idea what he's talking about, but it needed an alignment.
Just use a big word.
So people are like, yeah, that sounds good, but alignment with what?
Right.
What do we mean when we say alignment? Aligned with the belief that the substance of favor will cause things to begin to manifest for you. Now, and I'm going to work on this for just a few minutes. I think this is pretty important, because the built-in favor of life makes abundance. It creates. In other words, I don't make abundance. Like you're saying, it's not by the sweat of my brow that I'm out here creating abundance in my life. It can be done that way, but that's not the kind of abundance that we're talking about. You don't make abundance. Nobody makes increase that is not subject to decrease. And our increase as a kinetic believer is not subject to decrease. The abundance of favor increases where the power of kinetic belief is aligned with gratitude and expectation for the essence of life. That scares a lot of people.
Whoa, hold up now.
Whoa, carbs.
Right, yeah.
It scares a lot of people. But it's because it just seems like it's too good to be true. Most people think they don't deserve it. That's where most people come from, because they are in the egoist state of mind, and they've been identifying with failure or success based on merit. And so it's too good to be true for people that are in that egoist state of mind. But this is how life works. If you believe you can't, you won't. If you believe you can, you will. You're always correct. You are always right in that you will receive exactly what you expect. The substance of favor makes. Remember that. And the substance of favor creates. It abundantly increases wealth. Well, what makes riches? The increase of the blessing manifests abundance. And that's all it knows to do. It's not making a decision, should I or shouldn't I. The blessing or increase, the law of attraction, when it's bringing a desire into your sphere of influence, it's not sitting up on a throne. It's not sitting there rocking back and forth. Have you been a good boy? Have you been a good girl? It's
right.
Not the proverbial Santa Claus.
Yeah.
What should I put in your stocking this year?
I always think of it as, the Caesar is up there with he's got his thumb out.
Right.
It's up or down, back and forth. And that perspective of the universe, of our creator, it's so pervasive throughout history, throughout imagery, even pop culture, religion. And so it does make sense that, of course, we're going to, have to get rid of those thoughts and reframe that thinking, because that's how it's shown to us over and over and over again.
We're programmed to see that way, to believe that way,
Yes.
Make up fables, read fables, watch movies about all of that.
Something that you said that was really powerful just now, that if you find yourself contemplating something that you really desire and that you want in your life, but then you have that sensation of, hey, that's just too good to be true. There's no way that could happen for me. That means you're in the ego. And I love developing and knowing and being aware of triggers like that so that you can become aware and have that heightened sense of knowing, oh, I'm in my ego. I'm not in alignment with manifestation.
And we go right back to I am, therefore I am.
Yes.
Created perfectly in the image of the Creator with the ability to imagine, desire, and attract exactly what it is that you imagine. If you imagine failure, that's what you will attract. And you're moving, like you're saying, into the egoist state of expectation. And so the increase that we're talking about, it always manifests abundance. And if we are aligned with that substance of increase, we're manifesting abundance. Period. End of the day. Drop the mic and run away. But that's all it knows to do. Yeah. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care what you've done. It doesn't care. It leaves the expectations of your care up to you. It's what you care about.
Wow.
The substance of life makes. The substance of life, it creates. The substance of life is health. It makes the abundant life. And so the root to being rich would be the substance of favor. It is the God particle in the universe that's loaded and ready to unload, adding to what you expect. And it's not your boss. It is the tangible. It is the essence, the tangible essence of favor that already exists.
Wow.
That is not decision based on anything other than what you expect. All things that can be seen came from things that cannot be seen. Favor cannot be seen. But unto those who believe, they are favored, increased, made whole. It's not your family will, it's the substance of increase. It's not people who make promises, it's the substance of increase. Where is your expectant hope? And your expectant favor exists where your desire is, whatever that is. And it will come to you
these
in that respect.
Ancient texts that you're sort of harkening back to today, they're so powerful, this idea of the blessing makes. And that points to this idea that we have the ultimate authority, and that a big part of this is recognizing what we're allowed to do in this universe, what we have sort of been endowed with in this life and in this existence. Endowed with,
that's a great word for it. And, we hear often, especially in religious circles and even not, the person who says, be blessed, be blessed.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually an accurate way of saying it because it is a choice. It's not, well, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. It is a choice to be blessed, a choice to align ourselves with that increase, that makes,
wow,
that establishes. The particle attraction has been set up in motion from the very beginning of the Big Bang. It only knows to do. And it is only attracted like an electrical current to a thing that's attracting it.
Right.
When you become wealthy from the substance of increase by aligning yourself with unconditional love, the abundance that you attract will not come with any sorrow. It will not come with any grief. When the substance of abundance is attracted into your life through the power of kinetic belief, it increases you to where all your needs are met. And it's not by stuff that is rented. It's not by stuff that is broken. It's not by temporary fixes. It doesn't come with duct tape. It's abundantly aligned with your best life so that you can enjoy it and share it with great enthusiasm. And not with fear and trembling that, well, this is the last of it, but, oh, well, I guess we'll both suffer and I'll give it to you and we'll both be without eventually.
And everything you're telling us today, this is really combating that spiritual victim mindset that it's very easy to fall into. Another very pervasive process of thought in society throughout really all of time, this idea that we're just sort of begging some higher power to fill in the blank. And so this is an incredibly empowering piece of information that you're driving home today. This idea that, look, we have the authority. It always comes back to us, down to us, what we're saying, what we're choosing, the alignment that we are, the I am, therefore I am. That's us.
I am, therefore I am. Isn't that good? Because what that does is it moves us out from identifying with labels, doesn't it?
Yes.
We're not identifying with a limited amount of anything. It's a holistic approach to allowing the blessing to create, to establish holistically. And then that changes completely our understanding and the definition of what it even means to be rich or wealthy or abundantly furnished in all things. Because when the universe begins to add to you, you're becoming rich. But the word rich is not limited to just finances. The person who limits rich, the idea of richness to finances, is identifying with labels. Yeah. And it has moved away from the essence of life. And then those kind of finances that come through the identification with that comes with sorrow, because it comes with the possibility and most likely probability of decrease that comes with that increase.
I love that idea. Okay, so this is just so great. I can barely speak. I'm so excited. There's a scripture that I used to hear, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but it basically says, it's better to be in a teeny tiny house alone at peace than, I think this was probably a Southern paraphrase, but it said, than in a huge mansion with a brawling woman. And I always thought that was really funny.
I think it's funny hearing you say that.
I just thought that was the funniest way to say that.
That's probably true, isn't it? House or no house.
Right.
Out in the yard.
But isn't that it? If you are, let's think through this. If you're forcing something to show up in your life, if you're trying to force money, do it yourself, sweat of your brow, there's always going to be so much negativity just automatically attached to it. No, you won't be able to find peace. You're at the job where you're just working nonstop to earn a buck. This is just so powerful because it's the root of it. It's the motivation of it that we have to focus on.
It's the essence of life, isn't it? Because rich, again, is not limited to just finances when we're talking about the authoritative power of kinetic belief to increase you, to advance your mind, body, and soul toward perfected completion. Wow. Now, yes, it includes finances. Absolutely does. Right. But not just limited to finances. Finances, because look, when you talk about being rich, in the substance of increase, the words referencing the holistic increase of wholeness, that's what we're talking about. When we talk about manifesting richness, wholeness, all things advancing in abundance. This is increase that blesses, that creates. And it may be money over here, but it's perfecting your health over here. And the substance, all these things are God particle quantum substances. And so it's increasing your level of joy, health, mental health, wisdom, enlightenment, transcending above the ego, in attracting other relationships with like-minded, like-kind people, to edify and encourage and celebrate and to enjoy the experience of awareness with.
So obviously a huge part of staying in alignment is staying in belief, staying in kinetic belief. And you've told us many times that, hey, you have to attach action to activate that belief and to demonstrate your belief. And so I'm finding myself wondering, okay, how am I going to go forth today and balance, action with alignment without it being, pulling me back into this sort of like earning mentality?
Well, this is where journaling always comes in, because you're able to work on all of your kinetic belief modalities, making that short list and then filling in the blanks of what you, from the highest viewpoint, imagine your life to look like, to feel like, to be like, so that you can experience it holistically in every direction. And you're not just creating these singularities of expectations of what your best life would look like or be like, but it's the entire picture. And so it's all of the modalities like you're talking about, including the action and the imagination, the desire, and of course the gratitude and the affirmations of the new language you're learning to speak. And the things that you used to talk about, you're casting down all of those old negative imaginations and replacing those with the things that you're imagining to speak of properly and to act upon. Because this is the increase that blesses. This is the increase of favor. A flower which never speaks a word of anything negatively, it's abundantly increased, right? But not singularly by the growth of just one petal. Right. You don't just see one petal offshooting from a flower that's like prospering and it's rich, while the rest of it remains stagnant.
Right.
So while the rest of the plant is just dying or undernourished. No, the abundant life increases in mind, body, spirit, and soul like we're talking about, and all things within you increase out of you in every direction, holistically, your entire life. The essence of your life is growing. This is the rich, this is the wholeness of the abundant life that kinetic belief attracts. And I'm talking about rich in your spirit, rich in your soul, rich in your body, rich in your relationships, rich in your marriage, rich in your bank account, not excluding rich in your bank account, but including riches in all of your accounts, riches under your mattress,
all the accounts,
riches in the jar out in the yard,
yes.
Great wealth and health. The favor of creation is complete. And that's where a lot of people get tripped up. They don't see it, so they don't believe it. They don't think it exists if you don't have it in the account, or if you've got the infirmary, then the health is missing, and none of that's true. The favor of all of creation, it was established at the very moment of creation. And this is scientifically proven as well. There is a bias for everything that is. There's nothing new under the sun, as it is written. And that bias established the heavens and the earth and all things beyond, and every thought that's ever been thought of, every invention that's yet to be invented, everything already is. It's established. And we are aligning ourselves with that which already is. And by doing so, there are many things that are accomplished and increased, for example, in materials, when we align ourselves with the favor of creation, which is completed. Wow. And so we increase ourselves. And people that, look, it's possible that you can have $1 billion in the bank and be dying of cancer, and just you are just a poor person with $1 billion in the bank. I mean, what good is $1 billion and you've got a like you're saying, a crazy acting wife at home, or a crazy acting husband at home, or another, whoever,
you lack
whatever.
peace, yeah.
Or you can have no money in the bank and a healthy body. You're still a poor person with a healthy body because you still lack currency. Or you can have money in the bank and you can have a healthy body, but you are so awful, you are so mean, you are so self-centered that you don't have any friends at all. You're still a poor person with a healthy body and money in the bank. You see, before someone started identifying with winning and losing and labels of any kind, being smart or not smart, winning approval, whatever, acting like something that they're not, the idea of rich, of wholeness, meant that all things are good in every direction. Nothing missing, nothing broken, perfected. When every area in our life is good, we are aligned with the favor of the universe. We are attracting abundance. We are attracting the essence of our genius of life.
Something really beautiful about what you're telling us today is that this is automatically going, when we align with the favor of creation, it's automatically going to give us this sense of peace. We don't have to feel like we're just chasing money all over the place, like we're forcing things and chasing things. It just allows us to be and to rest really in this process, which I love this idea of just step a little bit to the left or step a little bit to the right. You're going to get in alignment with this creative favor, and you're just going to lock in and let it flow.
Yes, lock in with it. That's so good. And align yourself with the expectation of the favor. Look for the increase. Expect to be wealthy. Expect to be healthy. Expect to be joyous and happy. Expect to have those friends and be wide-eyed, hands open, looking for it. Going downtown, uptown, around town. You're expecting it everywhere you go. Favor, increase, it being established in your life. And that's aligning yourself with what already is. And you're showing up expecting it. And so, and not just some area, because if you think that you should just be healthy and you're not working on the rest of it, holistically expecting it in everything, mind, body, spirit, and soul, that's being double-minded by the reasonings of doubt. You don't really believe that, sure, I can be healthy, I can be a bodybuilder and be strong and take all the right, eat right and all those things, but
I'm going to live under a bridge.
And I'm not sure how I'm going to pay my
Right.
my $25 gym membership next month.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't work like that. No, when you involve, for example, fears of the past or the unknown, things that you can't see the connection because you are still looking through the imagination of failure or hurt or pain or lack or suffering. Not enough. And you're living by what you see when you do that. And what you can see is always incomplete. We can never see the complete total picture of what's actually there. Oh, if we just could. If we could just see what's really already around us and available to us, there would be no more human suffering on this planet.
Right.
So we imagine. We were created to imagine. Because we're creators and we're supposed to not live by what we see. Our completeness, our wholeness already exists, and it's there for anybody that aligns their belief with the abundance of the universal wealth to attract wholeness and increase in every area of life.
You mentioned journaling as the main avenue, the thing that we have to do to get in alignment with the favor of creation. And I love the journal because I always feel like it's reprogramming me, which is an amazing thing. So you're setting out your intentions and you're learning about the authority that you really have. And then I tell you what, every single time I go back and I reread what I've written or I reread the prompts that you've put in there, I always get that sense of, I'm getting rid of old, bad, outdated, incorrect information and I'm replacing it with this new perspective shift.
Well, that's one of the good things. We have, Megan's talking about, we have a guided journal that's available on our website it prompts you along for 100 days, and it's there to provoke your thoughts, to begin helping you through the process of casting down negative imaginations and reconstructing your expectations according to what is possible. And then you build your own house of life. You construct your own using a blueprint. You're creating the way that you imagine to see it. And then through the meditational practice of that, you begin manifesting and attracting the substance of those thoughts into your life. And if you don't have to get that, you just get a notebook, get a stack of paper, anything to write on. But I do highly recommend that you begin journaling the manifestations of your life.
I always think it's funny that we call it the 100-day guided journal because at this point it's like the 400-day. I just keep starting over and starting over.
The successful kinetic believer does this as a way of life, for sure, because we're talking about being rich in every area. Every area is rich. Every area of your life, wholeness in every area. You are whole. You are complete in every area already. You already are. You are already wealthy and healthy and wise. But now it's what you say about it that will either manifest what can be seen according to what I just said, those constructs, or the opposite. And watch this. When I am whole, I am rich. So the substance of favor, or the essence of life, makes richness. It makes whole. Because expectant alignment, where you do not doubt and you imagine and you stir up your gratitude and you act expecting to attract more, then the substance of the blessing is going to allow you to have victory in every area without worry, without doubt, without fear. I heard a theologian, Megan, say that the blessing will make someone rich, but only in spiritual things. He said it will not have any impact on the material realm. That is making an excuse for lack, which will prove him right in his own life. and anyone else that dare to agree with him, align with what he's saying. Note the blessing which has been observed as the God particle, which is the provision of God, the essence of abundant life, will make you prosperous in every area of your life. Actually, speaking to theologian, the Bible says that Abraham was blessed by God and was made very rich in livestock, made very rich in livestock, made rich in silver, and made rich in gold. Rich. And Abraham was aligned with the substance of favor. He was aligned with the blessing of abundance. And the historical Abraham was attracting great wealth, great health. In fact, the Bible said he lived to be 175 years old. That's a healthy person. And the substance of abundant attraction was within him. And it made him very rich and manifested the substance of materials, because that's what we're talking about. That's what wholeness is all about. Nothing will be missing when being impacted by the abundance of kinetic belief, the abundance of life. You can't stay in kinetic belief, imagining with gratitude your best life, and the quantum physical law of entanglement manifest only in one area. It's not possible. The essence of life is everywhere. It's like a starburst, scattering its essence in every direction. And when the blessing moves through the essence of life toward you, you're going to be healed. You're going to be delivered out of trouble. You're going to be set free from fear and manifesting wholeness in every area. And I'll also tell you that if you are a student of kinetic belief, then you are a student of prosperity, because this is your attachment to the life source of prosperity. And if you hear about transcending the ego, you're learning about spiritual prosperity. If you hear about the renewing of your mind, you're learning about prosperity of the soul. If you hear about perfecting your health or healing, you are learning about health prosperity. If you're hearing us talk about relationships, you're learning about relationship prosperity. If you're hearing about financial success, you're learning about financial prosperity. So if you're studying the modalities of kinetic belief, you are a student of prosperity. And if I'm teaching kinetic belief, then I'm teaching prosperity. Thank you very much. Somebody says, well, why are you going to zero in on the financial part anyway? Look, how many of you need the law of attraction to move in your life financially, like as soon as possible? I mean, this is a pretty big deal for a lot of people.
Yes.
All right, now you're asking me, why is it that I'm teaching the financial part of kinetic belief? It's a big deal, because most people listening to these podcasts are ready to manifest their money. I know that. And attract abundance to their finances. And since you have access to the substance of all things, you have the root of life that attracts within. And you have the fruit of life that manifests within. The abundance of all things is within every single person right now. Why do we have our kinetic belief live in-person celebrations, someone might ask? Other than you and I just loving people
just wanting to have fun.
We want to have fun with everybody. It's because there is something that happens from hanging out with other people that have the power of kinetic belief working on them, in them, and through them. Because what we're seeing throughout the evolution of life on Earth is increase through association. And I can tell you that some of you who've been with us from the very beginning of these podcasts anyway, some of you have shared some really profound stories of life-changing increase that's shown up for you. And I want you to know that that really blesses us. It is such a reward for Megan and I to be able to read some of those from you guys.
Yes.
And between the mail and the phone calls and the messages that we receive on a daily basis now, it tells me that without a doubt, that people are experiencing increase by association in their lives. Let me tell you something, because the manifestation of abundant life, prosperity, mind, body, and soul is on this community of kinetic believers right now. And you are connected to this community of kinetic believers through the power of collective expectations, through the power of the favor of unconditional love. And if you're new to kinetic belief, you'd better get ready, because what is going on in this community is getting ready to come on into your life. It's getting ready to show out in your life, because this is what it does. The abundant life manifests in your life through the alignment of your agreement. And if you are associated with us, it's got to show up. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you think you deserve it or not. That'll change. Because if you're associated with us, and it's going to show out in your life. If you are new here, I'm so glad you found us, first of all. Because it's not by chance that you're here. Why? Because it's time for you to break out of average. That's how you ended up here listening today. It's not by chance. It's time for you. It's time for you to break out of minimum living. It's time for you to break out of that poverty living. It's time for you to get out of that lack. It's time for you to perfect the power of kinetic belief as a way of life, and to accept nothing less than your purpose of being. And you're not going to be afraid to do it either. How are you ever going to know that joy is your strength if you don't step out and do what you ought to be doing? Well, Stephen, I've done all I know to do. then you need to do some things you haven't done before. And that's why you are here today, so that you can choose to do those other things. But when this podcast is over with, and when you move on to something else today, you need to have your hands stretched out, and you need to have your eyes wide open, because you're expecting something. I mean, you've been here listening today, and you're listening every week, and you're working on something, and you've got your journal out, and you're on day 40 or 50 or 60, whatever, and your ego's trembling. I mean, it's getting nervous. It has a false sense of identity that wants to live. It doesn't want to die. It wants to continue to live, and it wants to be supreme in your life. And it doesn't know how much you're going to retain from this podcast that you're listening to today. But I'm telling you right now, before we went on the air today, I got so stirred up in my kinetic belief on this earth for you that I imagined you here. I desired you being prosperous, and I am grateful for your abundant life, and I'm acting by putting words to my belief, and by preparing for you, and by showing up myself here today for you, that I can tell you that you'll not lose what is being sown into you right now, and that this is going to stay in you, and it's going to be rooted in you, and it's going to grow up and out of you. And you are going to show this world that your Creator is your source that will prosper His creation in every area of your life. It's time to operate in strong authority. It's time for you to operate in the abundant realm. The essence of abundance, the alignment of the God particle, the blessing of God, it's working. It's in your life right now. It's within you right now. So stop struggling with it and do the hard thing and let it be. Herman Melville wrote in his book, Moby Dick, "I know not all that may be coming, but be it what it will, I'll go to it laughing."
The ultimate kinetic belief quote. Yes. Yes.
Regardless of what they may be saying today, let's all laugh a little more today.
I love it.
Just say this. Say, I'm abundantly blessed.
I am abundantly blessed.
I'm aligned with my greatness.
I am aligned with my greatness.
I'll accept nothing less.
I'm going to accept nothing less.
My health is prospering.
My health is prospering.
My wealth is prospering.
My wealth is prospering.
My freedom is prospering.
My freedom is prospering.
My peace is prospering.
My peace is prospering.
Why?
Why?
Because I'm perfectly made.
Because I am perfectly made.
And nothing is missing from my life.
And nothing is missing from my life.
And nothing is broken in my life.
And nothing is broken in my life. Wow, you took us there, Steve. You gave us just this amazing depth of understanding where alignment is concerned. Make sure you go to StephenKenyon.com for all the great resources we already talked about on today's podcast. And I feel so connected to the KBs today, Steve. I just love them so much. Don't you just want to have a big group
They're
hug?
all delightful. Yeah,
let's do
so
it right
much
now.
Fun.
Group hug, everyone.
Group hug, everybody. Feel the hug.
Yes.
Feel the squeeze. Sending out much love to all you KB creators all around the world.
Thanks as usual, Steve, for all the wisdom.
Bye.